everyone, it's Amanda from Loops and Love Crochet here, and today I'm going to show you how to work up this new beanie pattern on the blog. This one is called the Northern Longridge Beanie, named from one of my amazing testers. And you'll find the written pattern on the blog, loopsandlovecrochet.com, or you can also purchase the ad-free PDF version in my Etsy or Ravelry shop. This video tutorial today is meant to show you the stitches that are needed to work up this beanie. However, for the stitch counts needed for the child and adult size, you can refer to the written pattern on the blog for all of those specific details. So let's grab our worsted weight yarn and a 5mm crochet hook and we'll get started. So to work up this crochet beanie, it's worked up from the bottom to the top, so we'll start working the ribbing in back and forth turned rows of back loop only single crochet stitches, and then when the ribbing's done we'll join that together and then start working up the height of the beanie. As you can see, this pattern looks great with a solid and a variegated yarn alternating, but you can also work it up in just a single variegated yarn. Looks great in just single colors as well, or alternating stripes, kind of whatever you'd like to do. It'll look great and you'll get to see the texture of the stitches here. But we'll get started here with our yarn and working up our ribbing. Okay, so I have my yarn here and my crochet hook ready to get started, and we're going to start by working the ribbing. So we're going to start by making a slip knot with our yarn. And then we're going to chain 9 stitches, or however many needed for the size of beanie that you're making. And then once you have your chain done, you're going to work back in those stitches, starting in the second chain from the hook all the way back to the other end, working single crochet stitches. So if your chain was 9, you'll be working 8 single crochet stitches. So your single crochet stitches will always be 1 less than what your starting chain was, because we're going to start in the second chain from our hook. Here's the last one. So our first row is done, just regular single crochet. Now for each additional row that we're going to be adding on to our ribbing, we're going to create that ribbing texture by working back loop only single crochet stitches. So I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to turn my work, and then I'm going to work back loop only single crochet stitches. So for the first one, I like to look at my work from kind of over top here, and you can see each stitch has a V, and you're only going to work in the back loop of the V, so the one farthest away from you. So I'm just going to insert my hook into that back loop only, so just under one part of the V, and then I'm going to yarn over and then complete my single crochet stitch, and then again in the next stitch in the back loop only. So here's that V into the back loop. That's 2, and then we're going to go all the way across like that into the back loop. 3, 4, oops, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So there we go, we're finished our next row, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to do the same thing over again. So back loop only single crochet stitches the full way across. So looking at those V's from over top, you're only going to go into the back part of that V, and then complete your single crochet stitch as usual. And then you're just going to continue like this for the number of rows that your ribbing requires for the size of the beanie that you're making. And at the end of the row, chain 1 and turn again, and then back loop only single crochet stitches again. And these back loop only single crochet stitches create that nice texture of the ribbing where you have kind of a ridge. I'll show you just one sec. I'll just finish this row. So you can see that you have that kind of up and down, the ridges, and this will make a nice stretchy starting ribbing of your beanie here, so it can stretch around the person's head that's going to be wearing the beanie. And from either side, you get that nice ridge there, created by the back loop only single crochet stitches. So you'll just continue on just like that until you're finished the number of ribbing rows that are required, and then we'll move on to working up the height of the beanie. Okay, so here's all of the rows of the ribbing here all worked up. Be sure to measure your ribbing here to make sure it is close to the length of what the ribbing states in the pattern for the size that you're making, just so that your beanie comes out the proper size for the person that's going to be wearing it. It doesn't come out too big or too small. And it's always best to measure the length of your ribbing before you stretch it, because this is a nice stretchy piece here, so it'll definitely be quite a bit shorter than the circumference of the person's head that is going to be wearing the beanie, but it stretches a good number of inches as well to get a nice fit for the beanie as well too. So to count the rows of ribbing, to make sure that you have all the rows, each of these raised sections here, each one of those is kind of 2 rows of ribbing. So one on the bottom and then one creating that raised section. And then the next one's kind of in between. And then the next one is the raised one. So it kind of goes down, up, or low, high. Then each one of those is one of the rows of your ribbing. So when you're counting it, you can kind of count each of these sections 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, making sure that you have the proper number of ribbing for the size of beanie that you're making. And then when you're done, we're going to join it together to create the round part that's going to go around the person's head. And then we'll start working up the height of the beanie. So I'm just going to flip my ribbing over. So where I left off is sitting up top with my loop attached here. And I'm going to fold the ribbing in half so that the stitches line up here. And I'm going to go through the very last stitch here. I'm just going to insert my hook through, and I'm going to pull through this loop where I left off. I'm going to pull that through to the front right there, and then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to slip stitch through each of these stitches across, joining the ribbing together underneath both loops of each stitch. So we've done this first one here, so we're going to go under both loops of this first layer and then both loops of the second layer, and then we're going to slip stitch. There we go. And then again, the third stitch on each row underneath both layers, pull up a loop of yarn and then pull it through as a slip stitch. So we'll join our ribbing just like that, making sure that the stitches are lined up. And the last one in the corner here. Go. So now you're all joined across. You'll have this tail here from where you started that we can work over next here. And we'll leave this loop attached. And now we're going to turn our ribbing right way out, because right now we're working on the inside. You have kind of a seam here. We're going to flip that now. So your loop where you ended off is at the top. And there we go. So that's what it looks like once your ribbing is joined. And make sure you don't lose that loop there. We can work over this yarn tail when we start working around the ribbing, and then you have your working yarn attached here too. Okay, so now from here, we're gonna single crochet all the way around this ribbing here, working 1 single crochet stitch in the end of each of the rows. So we talked about how one row is the one raised and the other one is the one kind of in between. We're going to work a single crochet stitch in the top of each of those stitches, starting in the first one where your yarn and hook are attached. So I'm going to start with a chain 1. And then right below my join and my chain 1, there is a stitch here. So we're going to work a single crochet right into that stitch. There we go. So that's the end of that row. And then the next row here, we're going to work right in beside. We're going to work a single crochet stitch in each of these stitches all the way across. There we go. So 2 and then 1 here in between. And then your next one's kind of on top of this raised row. And then 1 kind of on the one in between. And then at the end of the raised row. Now be sure to work this round relatively loosely. If you were to work this round very tight tension, it would really affect how wide or how big your ribbing is able to stretch. So if you really are pulling on those single crochet stitches nice and tight, your ribbing would not be able to stretch as much as it's designed to, and then your beanie might end up being too small. So a good rule of thumb is to have this single crochet row worked nice and loosely so that your ribbing is able to stretch as much as it's designed to. And I'm usually a crocheter that works with a snugger tension, so I find I just really have to be mindful as I'm working this row not to pull my loop super small or the stitches super tight. And you're just going to go all the way around just like this, and the number of single crochet stitches you make should be the same number as the number of rows that you have. So when you're done, you can count your single crochet stitches and make sure it matches up with the number of rows of ribbing that you worked, because that stitch count will be required for the rest of the pattern to work out properly. Okay, so we'll just check where we are here. So we can see those single crochet stitches going right in at the end of the row of ribbing, and we can see where we started here. So I do still have a ways to go, so we'll just finish that one off. Okay, so I'm just finishing up the last single crochet stitch here for this top of the ribbing here, and I'm going to change color here to work up the next section here. So the main color for this other beanie that I made here, the main color is kind of a variegated yarn, and then the accent color is a solid kind of sparkle. The next row that we're going to work is going to be forming these stitches here, the ones that are in this kind of turquoise color here. So I'm going to switch colors here so these ones stand out a little bit more, so that when we work with the other color again, our stitches kind of go down in between that other color, and they're just more defined that way, so I can show you how they work in the video. You can keep working in a single solid color as well too. You can still see the texture of the stitches here. It'll just be easier for me to show you on the video the different stitches if they're in different colors. So again, you can work in the same color, or you can also switch colors as well too. So I'm going to start working in a variegated yarn here, and I'm going to change color in the last yarn over of the stitch, and I'm going to pull through in that new color, and then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the first single crochet. There we go. And then from here, I'm going to start working up the next round. And for the next round, the instructions are chain 2, and then you're going to double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, and then double crochet in the next stitch, and repeat that all the way around. So what that looks like is, here's our chain 2. I'm going to work over my yarn tails as well. We're going to double crochet in that same first stitch, and then I'm going to chain 1. And we're going to skip this next stitch, and we're going to double crochet in the one following. So you can see we have our skipped stitch, we got our double crochet. Here we go, we're going to chain 1 again. and then we're going to double crochet in the following stitch. And then chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet in the last one there. And that's what you're going to continue doing the full way around, and you'll be able to see your skipped stitches in between and your double crochet stitches worked in every other stitch. So we'll continue like that, and then we'll work up the next round. Okay, so here we are, almost back around to the other side. I just have one stitch left to work in the double crochet, and then I'm going to change color back to the main color. So I just wanted to show you the color change in case you are also planning to do color changes here too. So I'm going to work up this double crochet right up until the last yarn over. And I'm gonna yarn over, so I'm gonna drop this color and I'll pick up the other yarn that I left attached here from where I left it. And I'm gonna yarn over the last pull through of the double crochet stitch. And yes, you can see that right there, but you won't see it in just a second when we work the next row up, so that's fine there. You're gonna chain 1 and then join to the top of the first double crochet stitch of the round. So we're going to join right, not into the chain, we're going to join in the top of the first double crochet with a slip stitch, completing the round. And then from there we're going to start working up the next round. So for this one we're going to chain 2 again, and the instructions are double crochet in the first stitch and then a long double crochet into the skip stitch from the previous round, so that'll be down here, and then double crochet in the next stitch and then double crochet down into the skip stitch from the previous round. So it's double crochet, long double crochet, double crochet, long double crochet all the way around. So we're going to start yarn over, double crochet in the top of that first stitch, and then a long double crochet down into the stitch that was skipped. So just like a normal double crochet, just worked one round lower. So I'm just going to pull that up to the same height, finish the double crochet. There we go. So you can see the first one's on top, the second one goes down in between. And the next one's a regular double crochet in the top of the double crochet stitch from this last round here. And then the next one is a long double crochet. So we'll yarn over, insert our hook way down into the skip stitch, yarn over, and finish the double crochet. So there you can see double crochet, long double crochet, double crochet, long double crochet, and then you'll continue just like that the full way around. With a double crochet and then a long double crochet. And you can see with the color changes there, you can easily see our double crochet and our long double crochet, and these purple stitches here, that was the double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, that was that round there. So you can see this new round is working down in between those stitches from the previous round, so you can see the texture of those stitches down below. Which again looks great if you just keep it in the same color as well too, but you can really see the difference in the stitches and working them in different colors. So I'm going to keep working up this round here, finishing that one off, and then I'll show you what comes next. Okay, so here we are in the last stitch of the round again. I just have one more long double crochet stitch to do here, and that'll cover this one spot here where we pulled the yarn up at the start of the round. And I'm going to do a color change in that round as well too. So I'm going to do my long double crochet right up till that last yarn over. I'm going to yarn over with the new color, so I'm just leaving the color that I'm not using attached on the inside. I'm going to pull through, and there we go. And now I'll join to the top of the first double crochet with a slip stitch. So not joining into the chain, joining into the top of the first double crochet, slip stitch, there we go. And then from there, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to start that same round again where we do the double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet in the next. So exactly the same as before, double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and just continuing just like that. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet. So once that round is worked, so you're going to go all the way around like that, and then change color again if you're changing color. If not, you're just going to keep going in the color that you're using. You can change color at the end of the round again. I'm going to change color back into this bluey teal color here, and we're repeating the same 2 rounds again. So it'll be double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet in the next for this whole round, and then we'll change color, join, and then the next round is going to be double crochet, long double crochet, double crochet, long double crochet, exactly the same. So we're just repeating these 2 rounds again, and then I'll show you the stitch that comes next because that one is a little bit different. Okay, so here we are back around. We've worked those same rounds again, and now I've just finished the last long double crochet stitch. I'm going to join to the top of my first double crochet of the round with a slip stitch, and then from here we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to work our next round is front post single crochet stitches. So we're going to work front post single crochet stitches in each stitch around here, and I'll show you how those go. These ones are going to create texture, kind of the raised stitches on the front of our beanie here. These are the front post single crochet stitches. So they're not adding any height to the hat here. They're just a decorative ridge that we're adding on to create some extra texture again. So to complete our front post single crochet stitch, we're going to insert our hook into the top of the first double crochet, but instead of going straight through to complete our single crochet stitch, we're going to go around the post. So we're going to insert our hook into the stitch, and then we're going to come back out on the other side here. So we're going around the post of my top of my stitch here. And then here we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop. So there's 2 loops on my hook, and then I'll complete the single crochet stitch just like I usually would. So by yarn over and pull through. And then again, for the next front post single crochet stitch, we're going to insert our hook again, the same stitch we just kind of came out of. We're going to insert our hook, go around the post. So there's the post that we've gone around. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through the rest of our single crochet. So we'll do a couple more like that. And as you can see, we're not going around like the bottom part of the stitch. We're only going around in that top little section here, just around that little post. Okay, so now you can see here are our front post single crochet stitches. They're on the front of our work. And if we look at our work from the top here, we can see these front post stitches are right here on the front, creating a ridge. And then right behind them, we can see all of the V's from our top of our double crochet stitches from the previous round. So we're not adding anything to the height of the pattern right now. We're just adding a textured ridge here on the front. And then we're going to be working back into these stitches in the next round. So that's why I'm pointing them out to you, so you can see that this top of the row of double crochet stitches that we just made, they're still here in the same spot. We're just working in front of them right now. So we'll continue on with our front post double crochet stitches all the way around to the other side. And then this one's a little bit different in how you would join it. So I'll show you how that one's joined, and then we'll continue on from there. Okay, so here we are back around. You can see that I've worked up a few of the rounds here. This is round 9 here that I'm at, where I worked these purple stitches that you can see. That was the double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch. And then I changed color, joined to the top of the first stitch here, Just realized that I did not do my chain 1 before I joined. There we go, so I did my color change. And now we're gonna work up the next round, which is the double crochet, long double crochet round. But for the child size of the pattern that I'm making right now, this round has some decreases in it. So depending on the size of the beanie that you're making, you may or may not be doing decreases right in this same round 10. However, I'd like to show you how the decreases work so that you can apply that to whichever size of the beanie that you are making by following the written pattern. So for this one here, decreases are worked in the double crochet, long double crochet round. And that means we're going to be starting to make our hat a little bit smaller as it goes towards the top to kind of shape it a little bit as we get towards the crown of the top of the beanie here. And the decreases are going to be worked in a combination of the double crochet and long double crochet stitches. Okay, so we're going to start with a decrease. So we're going to start with a chain 2. And for the first decrease, we're going to go from a regular double crochet to a long double crochet. We're going to combine those together into one stitch. So a double crochet decrease is the same as working a double crochet 2 together. So we're going to yarn over, and I'm going to do half my double crochet into this stitch here. So I'm going to insert my hook into the top of the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 of the loops. So we did half of our double crochet there, and now we're going to finish our double crochet in the long part. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook down into this long, into the skip stitch from the previous round, yarn over, pull that up, and then we're going to complete half our double crochet here. So yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then we'll finish off with the end of the stitch by yarning over and pulling through all 3 remaining loops on my hook. So there we go. So that's one of the decreases there. And then the next stitches, we're going to work 3 double crochet stitches, which is going to be a double crochet, a long double crochet, and a double crochet. So we'll do just as normal, double crochet into the next stitch, long double crochet just as normal, and then a double crochet up into this one just as normal. And then here, we're ready to start another decrease again. This decrease is going to be a little bit different. It's going to go from the long double crochet to the regular double crochet. So we're going to combine together the long and the regular double crochet, but we're going to start down this time. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook down into that skipped stitch, yarn over, 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2 of those loops. And then I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the top of that double crochet stitch, pull up a loop. There's 4 loops on my hook right now. So I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the last 3. So that was decreasing into that 1 stitch there. So we got decrease, double, 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 decrease, and then we're going to do 3 double crochets again. This time it's going to go long, double, crochet, and then long. So we'll do our long double crochet first, and then double crochet, and then long double crochet, just as normal here. So you can see our stitches are looking just kind of like they did in the previous round. The only difference is we have some decrease stitches here that are working 2 stitches together into 1 stitch, and some of the decreases go from a regular double crochet to a long double crochet, combining those together, and some of them go the opposite way where they combine a long double crochet with the regular double crochet, but they're both worked up in the same way. So here we are, we're going to do another decrease here. This one's going to go from up here in the regular double crochet down to the long double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the top of the first double crochet stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now there's 2 left on my hook, yarn over, insert my hook into the other stitch, pull up a loop. So there's 4 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 3 loops. So that was my other decrease, and then we'll work our 3 double crochet, which is a double crochet, a long double crochet, and a regular double crochet. And then we'll be setting up to do our next decrease as a long double crochet to a regular double crochet, decreasing those stitches together. But it doesn't look a whole lot different when you look at it, but once you work this round, you'll notice that our stitch count goes down, and therefore we're going to start shrinking as we get towards the top of the hat here. Now, not all rounds working up will be decrease rounds. For this child size, the decrease rounds are going to be the ones that are the double crochet, long double crochet. So we'll be working the decreases in those, and then the regular double crochet chain 1, those ones will remain just as regular stitches the full way up. So we'll keep working up this round, and then after this round we have another round of front post single crochet stitches. So I'll work up the next few rounds here as we get towards the top, working up the same with decreases and also non-decreases too, but you know how to work both of those types of stitches now. And I'll show you what it looks like when we get closer to the top. Okay, so here we are up at the top of the beanie. I've worked up the next few rounds of decreases as well as the double crochet, chain 1, skip stitches as well too. And now we're ready to close the top of this beanie. Keep in mind again that this is the child size, so the round counts and the stitch counts, the stitches are the same, but the stitch counts are different, as well as the round that you'll be working specific stitches in. That'll change a little bit depending on the size of the beanie that you are making. So if you're making the adult size, it'll be different from this child size here. But here we are up at the top, and we're going to work some single crochet decrease stitches. So I thought I'd show you how those work to finish up the top. So I just finished my decrease round, the last one of the double crochet decrease and then long double crochet. I'm going to chain 1, and now I'm going to work my decrease single crochet stitches. So I'm going to work in the top of my next 2 stitches. I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop, and then insert my hook into the second stitch, pull up a loop. So now there's 3 loops on my hook, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops on my hook. And then again, well, in the next stitch I'm just going to do a regular single crochet. And then following that, we'll work another decrease. And then a regular single crochet. And then a decrease. And then a single crochet. A decrease. A single crochet. And we're almost back around. Decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, and then we got our last one here. Decrease, and then single crochet. So there we go. So now we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the first single crochet decrease here. So we'll slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 1. And now we're going to work decrease stitches all the way around to close the opening of the top of the hat a little bit more. So again, we'll decrease, insert our hook into the first stitch, insert our hook into the second stitch, so pulling up a loop both times, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and then the same thing, pull up a loop, pull up a loop, and then pull through all 3 loops. So we're just decreasing in every stitch around here. And we're getting closer to the end of this round here. just a couple more decreases. And you can see here we are, we just got one more decrease left to work right here. And then we'll join with a slip stitch to the top of the first stitch here. Go, and then this is where you'd cut your yarn, leaving a tail to sew closed. I already have cut my yarn here, so I'm just going to pull it all the way through, pull my slip stitch through, and then you're going to need a yarn needle, and we're going to close the top of this beanie here, close this hole at the top, so you can thread the yarn through your yarn needle. And then you're just going to go around the top of the stitches here. You can see each stitch here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're just going to work with the front loop of each of the stitches. And you're just going to run your hook through the front loop of each of the stitches. So I'm going to go front loop, the front loop of the next one, the front loop of the following one. And then once you get however many you can get onto your hook or your needle, I would just pull that through. And then again, grab the front loops, continue all the way around until you've done all the front loops. So there's the next two. There's the next couple. Just one more. And then once you're through all of the front loops, you're going to pull it nice and tight, and that'll close the top there. And then in order to secure that, I just like to run my yarn needle underneath all of those loops a couple more times to pull it nice and tight. And then once you're done, I just like to send it through to the inside of the hat here. And then on the inside of the hat, here's what the inside looks like. You can just weave in these two ends of yarn here. So here's the accent color. Here's the main color, so I'll just weave those in on the inside and then I'll cut the yarn. And then from here, your hat is all done. Just gonna flip it back around again. Aside from weaving in the ends. There you go, so you can leave it as it is. You can add a pom-pom, but here is the finished hat here. I hope you found this video tutorial helpful in working up the Northern Longridge Beanie. Again, you can find this crochet pattern on the blog, loopsandlovecrochet.com. We'd love it if you subscribe to this YouTube channel and liked this video, as well as followed us on Instagram and liked our Facebook page. And I hope you enjoy this crochet pattern. Thanks so much for watching.